welcome to the Don'tCritMe.com podcast. I'm Blade. Tonight we have Brandon with us, as well as Nemesis for once. He actually showed up. That's amazing.
Yep. I'm here.
Today we're talking about PAX East. We just got back on, we all got back Sunday. But we were there for Friday, Saturday, and I think Brandon posted it well. He said, post-PAX depression setting in.
Yep.
We had a great time. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what we saw, what we were excited about, and what you expect later on this week throughout this week as we release stuff for our podcast. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Hearthstone, which is the new game that Blizzard announced. Thoughts? Go.
Do you want to go first, Brandon?
Go. You guys are the trading card game guys, so you probably know a whole lot more about it.
Magic was a little bit tricky, but
I mean, for the most part, I understand how Magic works because I have played card games before. It's never been something that really interests me, but it is cool, and I understand why people like it.
Yeah, I think I'll go first on that. I know when we originally got in line for that Blizzard panel, there were a lot of things that we were kind of thinking it could be, and when they revealed what it was, that it was going to be a trading card game, I think, I was probably about maybe 30-40% a little disappointed inside, but I wanted to give it a chance, and the more I saw of it, and the way the guy that was shoutcasting the actual match, I can see a lot of potential for something like that, and then eventually playing it in the booth, I enjoyed it a lot. So,
yeah, it's going to be the next big esport.
And don't joke about that. Magic the Gathering Online is really big.
I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that. I could see potential for it.
I really enjoyed it, especially smashing you, George. That was a lot of fun. You just getting crushed.
You only won because I life tapped at 2 life.
You totally weren't dead anyway, right?
It was a long day.
I really think it's going to be exciting. I'm excited because I have a lot of friends that play Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. But that, like me, they don't want to get into Magic the Gathering Online. They just want to find something like it that we can play together. And I think Hearthstone's going to be that go-to for a lot of people and a lot of players that want that kind of feel.
Yeah, and I think a lot of trading card games that start out, whether I remember when Magic kind of was in the early years. I don't think it caught on.
Back in George's day.
Back in my day when Magic started, it wasn't. I don't think it caught on as quick, and then eventually grew into what it is now. And I mean, it's absolutely huge. And I mean, the Warcraft universe is so expansive. I think they said that it was going to be like 340 cards that were going to be available at its launch. It was something like 340, 600.
600.
Okay. Well, whatever the amount, I think it can expand way more than what it actually is. The first year or so that it's out. So,
it's looking good for sure. The only thing I found was really funny that people were like, "Oh, it's going to be pay to win," and I'm like, kinda not.
I hate it when people say that.
People
it's gonna be... Listen, people say that stupid pay to win shit when they're talking about Hawken. 90% of the shit you can buy on Hawkins with your meteor points is just cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
If you suck at the game, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if you pay to win.
Yeah.
It's oh my god.
A lot of people had that pay to win attitude when EA was offering the option to buy unlocks in Battlefield 3, and honestly,
doesn't help at all.
Yeah, we're at the end of Battlefield 3's life for the most part as far as the expansions go, and I don't see how it hasn't affected my game at all.
Yeah, and now that EA did that, any game that has microtransactions at all, it's going to be pay to win.
I mean,
quote unquote.
Think about it. Think about it. Trading cards.
No, I'm sorry, pay to win.
There we go.
Trading card games in general are you go buy booster packs. Some people have a little more money than other people. They go buy more booster packs. They might
not me, ever me.
They might have a better chance of getting the card that they want or what they're really going after to build the deck they're wanting to build. If they have more money to do it. It's kind of the same concept in my opinion. I mean, I don't think it's going to affect anything. And I think a lot of people are being really, really hard on Blizzard just because of what they announced at PAX East. I think some of their expectations were a little too high. Considering that there's BlizzCon later this year, it wouldn't have made sense to make a huge AAA type of announcement at PAX East. No offense to the PAX, creators, but I don't think it's not as big as a BlizzCon type event or an E3 type of event.
Well, for Blizzard at least.
Yeah, exactly, for Blizzard. So, thinking about all of those things and seeing Hearthstone being released and talked about there, I think it made a lot of sense, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it. So,
all right, so that's enough on Hearthstone because we gotta get moving on. Another game, Shovel Knight. Brandon and I saw this while we were walking past the indie booth.
Yes.
I'm
so excited. So Shovel Knight is a game that is on Kickstarter right now. Actually, I think their goal is like 75K, and I think they're somewhat close to it, but I think like 15 to 20K. But it's got like an old throwback sort of game. It goes back to like Castlevania, Mega Man, Metroid. It looks really good, and it's really polished from what I saw at the booth, and I really can't wait for it. It's going to be on PC, 3DS, and Wii U. So, and it actually has, even though it has like an older feel, and even the music is like 8-bit, it has some more sort of modern mechanics, and actually kind of looks a little bit like Dark Souls as far as like the bosses that you fight and the way that the world is set up. So I don't know if you've seen any of it, George. I know Chris and I walked right by it.
No, I think I completely missed that one.
Check it out because it is. I can't wait for it.
All right.
I saw it and I was just like, oh, it's like old Mega Man and all sorts of old fun stuff. And those have been successful as of late. Capcom released Mega Man 9 and 10 a little while back, and they were great. People loved them. It was a real great throwback. So I think it's going to do great. I also love the fact that he didn't have a sword or like a spear or something like that.
A shovel.
It's like, I'm going to kill you with a shovel now. And everyone's like okay with this in the game, which I thought was great.
The music sold it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
All right, so I guess the next we're going to move on to is WildStar. And I'm not going to say we might be biased, but
I will say that I'm not going to try to sound like a hipster, but I've been looking forward to it for a long time, and I knew when you guys saw it that you were going to love it.
Hipster.
I know. It's ever since I saw the first trailer, I was so hyped for it. And then again, I was for Guild Wars 2, and that was kind of a disappointment. But this is different.
You enjoyed yourself when how many people were playing? How many people were in that hotel room when we were trying to play it during the party?
Oh God!
And you were enjoying yourself, so
yeah.
Yeah, you guys got to go to the WildStar party, and I was snoozing.
Oh, are you ready for the sad part? They would have let you in even without the little thingy.
Oh, whatever. We didn't have to bring that up.
We still bought you a shirt.
That's true. Yeah, I'm not cool enough. Actually, I tore my wristband off, so.
Threw it on the ground.
So what happens when you go around tearing wristbands?
Yeah.
I'm super excited for WildStar. One of the reasons.
Everybody go around and name one aspect that you're really excited for.
And then we'll move on because we'll be on this for forever.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so basically for me, MMOs, at least for the past couple of years, have become like shooters. There's new MMOs every year, and you kind of got to decide which ones you kind of want to play, just because they're either free to play with microtransactions or they've got subscription models. For me, I've kind of gravitated towards the World of Warcraft Torchlight 2 type of art style in an MMO. I'm not a fan of like the more
realistic.
The more realistic of like Ion and the Rifts and.
Did he just cut out? I think he just cut out.
No, I'm still here. Did I?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit. We're good.
Sorry.
We saw you talking, but we didn't hear anything.
But
it's
yeah,
a ghost.
Basically, I like the art style of WildStar or WildStar more.
WildStar.
WildStar. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah. So basically, I like the art style more than the other MMOs so far this year.
All right. Mine's gonna seem really silly, but I'm so excited for this double jumping. Just being able to double jump all the time, everywhere. It makes me feel like I'm playing an old platformer, like, just had double jumping. Like
that was
almost Jak and Daxter. And I'm just like, let me just double jump everywhere.
That was one of my favorite parts of playing it, the beta. It was just like so much fun. And if they incorporate games like they did with Guild Wars 2, where you have to jump up and find these lookout spots, it'll give you an incentive to use that double jump. So, as nerdy and lame as this sounds, I'm kind of excited for the housing.
Housing?
I saw,
that was kind of cool.
All this stuff.
The whole video.
Yeah, the housing plots. They have so many customization options, and the fact that you can have other people come to your place as they hang out there, then you get XP and this and that. It's just like, oh, and if you sleep at your house and log out, then you come back and you get more XP. It's just like there's so many cool things that they've thought about just in housing, and I'm sure they've thought about so much more in the actual game.
One of the things I liked the most about the housing system was that, like, say, we go to PAX next year. We go to PAX next year, and like I need someone to take care of my farm or my house. I can get I need my brother to log in, go take care of my farm for me while I'm gone. You'll get some of that money, but you're still doing stuff for me. But the fact that other people can interact with your house too. It's not just some imaginary spot off in the clouds that no one can touch except for you. You can invite other people. You can have entire groups there and stuff like that. So I could imagine people are hosting just trivia and having a bunch of people from the server just chilling out on their house, which would be awesome.
I think having those war plots as far as guild stuff goes too. You know how in Warcraft people tend to gravitate towards one specific city and kind of just hang out, at the auction house or whatever, with their guild or whatever. I think it's going to be really cool if you can integrate a guild war plot and just have your own people that you want to hang out with and people that you raid with or whatever, just in one specific area and not just an area full with trolls and other guilds and other people.
What trolls? No one trolls in games. No one does that. Not me.
You're gonna come home to your house, George, and I'm gonna be waiting there every time.
No, not waiting there. It's gonna be on fire.
You're gonna burn my war plot.
That or everything's turned upside down, like in the video. So everything's now on its back, and you're just like, what the fuck?
There are tables on the ceiling.
Exactly. That's Alice in Wonderland. This shit. All right, so we're not going to talk anymore about WildStar because we promised ourselves we weren't going to, or else we'd sit here and talk for forever. Yeah, maybe we will dedicate an entire podcast to WildStar. Whether
and I will be writing an article about this week.
Okay. Whatever, go away. Number WildStar. So last one is Elder Scrolls we're going to talk about. Initially a lot of us were like, oh, it's going to be at PAX East, we can play it. And suddenly once we got there, we were like...
Well, you played it. We all saw it, though. And I think George and I were both like, this looks kind of bland. And I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. But then again, I wasn't excited about it to begin with because I think I was skeptical from the beginning. But the more I've heard, the more I'm just kind of like, maybe not.
Probably what a lot of people are wondering in their minds. I mean, Chris, you play World of Warcraft still.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a good bit of it before, and I think Brandon has too. I guess, and it's kind of comparing two totally different MMOs, I know, but how do you feel about Elder Scrolls Online?
From when I got to play, it felt like I was playing Elder Scrolls. It had an Elder Scroll feel to it. I was running around doing Elder Scroll stuff, except for this part where I wasn't allowed to kill any NPC, which was kind of lame. That weren't hostile towards me. But at the same time, I got to ask some questions. To the community manager, I asked the question about the thief. Am I going to steal stuff like I am in Skyrim? And she was like, No, kinda. So it's kind of feeling like it's a watered down Elder Scrolls, and you know, I guess some people will still like that, but for me, it was kind of like, why not just stick with WoW? Another thing that happened was the pacing of combat. Um, I was playing an Orc Templar, and I was walking around, came across something hostile, and I was like, okay, here's my nuke that makes you take next damage, more damage for my next attack, and then this attack and that attack, and then I was like, okay, and now I'm stuck auto attacking for the next 6 seconds. I was kind of like, and I come from WoW where you're constantly using abilities, casting spells, and even when I was playing WildStar, that felt the same way. Not talking anymore about WildStar, but I like an MMO where I'm constantly doing things, not waiting to do things.
Did it seem like what level character did they start you off at?
At 8, and that's what someone reminded me. I was talking to someone else about this. It may not be like that, at higher levels. But I don't know if I'm gonna fork over the cash to wait and find out if I get to level 50 and find out what's going on, and see how it plays out. I'll let someone else do that. I don't think I'll be doing it.
I mean, I don't know if I'm a traditionalist, but I like a more of a rotation-based combat system. It doesn't have to be overly simplified rotations, but I like the fact that, if there is a, certain bar with 10 to 15 abilities, there is an optimal set of abilities to use in a certain situation. Did it feel like it could be that way, or was it more of the Guild Wars 2 style?
It could. I'm sure there's going to be a right way and a wrong way to do things. Like, you're going to definitely want certain abilities on cooldown all the time. But like I said, I didn't see enough of it. When I got to play with it, I wasn't terribly impressed. So we don't leave it at that. And so we don't step on any more toes, I guess.
Yeah. Brandon?
I know one of the things that you and I talked about, George, is that we really don't mind the whole Holy Trinity thing. And I think that's part of why, not that it's a bad thing to have, everybody sort of doing their own thing in a raid or a dungeon, but I feel like that's kind of why I'm going to lean towards WildStar, whether it's free to play or ends up being subscription-based, because it just appeals that way more to me. And even as an alternative, Neverwinter, I played the beta of, and
I actually got to play that last night. I had a lot of fun. Just like the 1 hour, and then I was like, I'm exhausted. I gotta go to bed. I loved playing Neverwinter.
It's so much fun, and so you could tell when you start out in Neverwinter and you play through, that whole beginning area doesn't seem at all like a grind or anything, or just making you stay in one spot and just you're banging your head against the wall saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have to do this for X amount of levels." Crap.
Another thing about Neverwinter is that my friend and I was playing with a friend of mine, and we both said, wow, this feels really epic for level 3. Right off the bat, you're like mowing down rows of zombies, you're casting these giant spells, you're fighting this big warlock, this bridge is burning and you're like, what's going on? And you're just having a blast. You're doing these really cool things that you wouldn't expect to do until way later.
And the Forge, where you can make your own quests and stuff. That they talked a little bit about that in the MMO panel that I went to, the future of MMOs, and the guy who worked on Neverwinter was there, and he was talking about it, and I had actually experienced a little bit of it in game and done a couple of those quests, and it's really, I think, like, it can really push Neverwinter to be, sort of something that stands out, above normal MMOs. So,
do you know if Neverwinter is going to be free to play or?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's definitely going to be a big catch for a lot of people. So, free to play and user generated content, it sounds like it's going to do really well.
It seems like it has a lot of sustainability.
Okay. So, that's it, I guess, about the games we saw at PAX East. We had a lot of fun walking around. If you guys haven't seen the pictures yet, there's a ton of pictures on our website that are up. Not our website, our Facebook page. Oh, that's our website. I guess. Well, anyway, there's going to be articles throughout the week that are going to go on with it. We got a couple more going on. I think Hearthstone's going up tomorrow, as well as a video coming up for our wrap-up for the end of the week. We want to move on to questions. We asked earlier today for any questions people had about for the podcast and us viewing it. We got 2 questions. So I guess we'll start with the first one. The first one is from Eddie, and Eddie says, what's your honest opinion on the Wii U, its future and its future of Nintendo? It's only a few months old as a system, and launches can be rough, but it can compete against the PS4 or 720. Will Zelda and Mario Party 84 be enough to save my beloved company? Yeah. So we'll kick that off to Brandon to start.
Oh.
He was playing his SP and dying to the SAX all weekend.
No, that's not true. That only happened one time.
Yeah, for like 8 hours.
I got past that part. Okay, it's really tough because shut up.
Georgia's fault, right?
Yeah, like I was a little rusty. What were we talking? Oh, the Wii U. For the longest time, I talked trash about the Wii U. Until recently, when I saw Monster Hunter 3, and I really kind of wanted to get into it because it looked like my kind of game. I didn't really know anything about Monster Hunter before. And then also with the remastered DuckTales. I don't know if you guys saw any of that, but
yeah, I did.
Awesome. The Wii U is a little bit more appealing to me, so when it goes down in price, I think I'm definitely going to get one. I don't really know a lot about it, so I can't really say what its sustainability would be, or I nailed it that time.
Well, obviously, Nintendo first-party stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, people are always going to buy it, but I don't know if it's really going to be a powerhouse compared to the PS4 and 720 because it's just not there. It's like I was telling Georgia earlier, the Wii when it came out compared to the 360 and the PS3, it was underpowered. But then again, it didn't really play games that looked as good as the games on that console, on those consoles. So I don't know. I'll get it when it goes down in price, but I don't really know where I stand on how its future looks. You're a Nintendo guy, so you probably know a lot more about this question. So
when the Wii U first launched, it had a lot of strong, not only first-party titles that were coming out, but a lot of third-party ones too. You know, we had Zombie U, Assassin's Creed 3, so on and so on. They're all launched. Well, Assassin's Creed 3 didn't, but you know, it came out with it in the Wii U. So you know, we can see that third-party people are on board with it. They want to do stuff with it, not just Monster Hunter, but I think it's got a plan. I think it's going to be fine. Eventually is the key word, though. Not right off the bat. You know, it's still kind of pricey. Anything that seems to be past the $250 range is pricey for new consumers to pick up a new item. You know, people aren't going to pick up a Wii U right off the bat, especially since it doesn't play GameCube games. There's people who still sit around and play Super Smash Bros. Melee all the time, nonstop. I have a friend in Arizona; she plays it all the time, and you know, she said that was a big selling factor for her for the Wii U. She said, "I'm not gonna buy a Wii U because it's too expensive and I can't play my GameCube games on it." You know, but like I said, eventually I think it'll be fine. My brother just bought one. Every time I've played with one, it's felt the controller it looks heavy. It's really thin. It's great. You know, they have more and more titles coming out for it. So I think it's having the same problem the 3DS had, which is a shaky start. And we all saw how the 3DS turned around just being at PAX. You know, every time you turned around, there was a 3DS somewhere out. Someone was playing something. So I think it'll be fine. But right now, shaky. George, your turn. He's like, I don't know what to say.
Okay, so no, I have my opinions on it. I'm trying to figure out how I want to word it without coming across as sounding like a total ass about the whole thing. But I think Nintendo has a really good handheld market. I think they have an established fan base for the DS and the 3DS. Sony, on the other hand, not so much. Their sales for the Vita hasn't been that great. There's been price drops. They're going to be continuing to drop the price of the Vita even more. As far as the Wii U goes, I think they're going to be okay up until the next-gen console releases. I think when Microsoft announced theirs, it's going to steal a lot of their publicity for I guess, selling the console. People are going to be saving up towards picking up that, and then later in the year, people are going to try to decide if they want to pick up a PS4 or a 720, if that's what it's going to be called. I think it's going to take a pretty big release or an announcement for a release, maybe at E3 for Nintendo, to actually have something that they would be able to provide their Nintendo fan base or the people that are kind of iffy about picking one up now, to kind of push them over that edge. To go ahead and pick up a Wii U. If they don't, if Nintendo doesn't have anything by E3, I think their sales are just going to be kind of okay. I don't think it's going to be spectacular. Frankly, I'm kind of worried about Nintendo and how long they're going to be kind of. I don't know,
playing this first party only title thing and
exactly
with that.
Exactly. So I think they're going to need to do something in the next year or so, or they're going to be in trouble.
I think it was bad timing on their part too, because a lot of people, if you ask them, like I forget who I was talking this about, but a lot of people feel like the Wii U isn't really a new console. A lot of people have this conception that the Wii U is like an add-on for the Wii, and it's just this sort of handheld, half of a console, not really a full-blown console like the PS4 or the Xbox. So I don't know. I think they'll be fine because there are always going to be Nintendo fans out there regardless. So what I hate is that Nintendo was such a powerhouse for such a long time, and they had the N64, which I was a huge fan of. I think all of us were, and then they sort of changed their demographic with the Wii U, and now they're more of a Wii Fit and Soccer Mom sort of.
Mm-hmm. I think if the Wii U came out 2 years ago, I think it would be at a lot better place right now. But it's on the eve or the cusp of two new consoles that are going to sell millions and millions of units. So
wait and see.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on to our next question. We have a question from Ryan who says, how do we feel about the resignation of John? I'm going to murder his last name. Actually, why would you say the resignation of the CEO of EA? How is that going to impact the company, if any?
Do you want to go first, Brandon?
I don't really. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent to it, so I'm not an EA hater, so I'm not going to say, oh yeah, you're that guy, or EA's going down without him. I don't really. I think they'll be fine because they're EA. So.
Yeah, I think EA is going to be fine, but for the past few years, or even more for that matter, EA's has been under fire for a lot of things, especially this year, especially with the launch of SimCity, Dead Space 3. Even though I like the Dead Space franchise, a lot of people didn't like the direction that they were going with it. There's just been a lot of bad publicity around EA, and I think the investors in that company were kind of at a point to where they were going, saying, you know what, we got to look elsewhere. We got to go, we need someone new to come in. I don't know if that's going to affect their game plan, their strategy for their upcoming games that are coming out. But I think the people that are complaining, that are, voicing their opinions probably in the wrong way, or at least voicing their opinions enough that I think people are starting to take notice of that. So I'm kind of optimistic as far as the next CEO that comes in. I think they're going to maybe, gear themselves a little towards, or a little less of just being money hungry. They still will be. They're still a business, and nobody can forget that. I mean, people are like, oh, they're just out to make money.
I think that's what happens too often with gamers. People forget that these companies that we love are still companies that need to make money. They still have to bring bread home to their families each day so they can eat.
Exactly. So, these companies that make billions of dollars, they still have people that, are at the bottom or the middle of that totem pole that still have to work to make that money. So I think there's going to be good things that are going to be coming from that. So I don't think it's going to be all negative. And I don't think... Go ahead.
As long as Mirror's Edge 2 comes out, I'm fine. So
I heard that was coming out on the iPad. It's going to be a...
I will jump out my window right now.
Right now?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
It's cold out there.
Oh, it's cold. What about Boston?
Oh my god.
No.
No, I don't think it's that cold.
Nope.
I don't think it's going to affect EA too much. I think it's just going to be like a passive power in hands. The new CEO might, play nice for a while, because especially, after SimCity, after the bad reception of just a lot of games from EA that were supposed to be powerhouses, mainly from BioWare, Dragon Age 2, Star Wars: The Old Republic, all these games that were supposed to be huge, mega selling things, Mass Effect 3, they all got, at some point, some serious negative feedback from, the community. I think it'll turn out fine. They won't be changing too much, but at the same time, I don't see someone switching hands causing the whole infrastructure of the entire company to just change overnight. And it might happen over time. Now, I'm not expecting too big of a change on EA.
Yeah.
So that just about wraps it up for today. Don'tCritMe.com, our podcast. Training for articles, giveaways, such and such. You guys know a bit.
Speaking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. You go. No, go.
Okay.
Go.
Speaking of giveaways, if you actually made it to the end of this podcast, I've got crap in my Steam inventory that has not been picked up, so I'm going to give away Hotline Miami in this podcast. The key word is wild style. So just email that. Email that to us. Send us a private message on our Facebook, or send an email to don'tcritme@gmail.com with that keyword in the subject line, and I'll pick a random winner for it.
Also, we're looking forward to doing. We want to do some play me's. We wanted to really get back into that. We said we want to do Dungeon Defenders, Left 4 Dead. What else? We said we want to do our packs.
Battlefield 3.
Battlefield 3. I would run around and just die left and right. But look forward. We're trying to do new stuff. So that's it for tonight. Signing off. Thanks, guys.